What's up? My name's Allison, and if you're new here, I like to make videos about my watercolor process as well as things that happen in my life and ways that I deal with the things that happen in my life. And boy, am I had a busy life this past month. We'll get into all the details as I show you this adorable pigeon that I painted. It's based off of a picture that I took while I was in Japan. I don't know if I've talked much about this or not, but my husband is in Japan and has been since August, and he has been teaching children on a tiny island through the JET program, and I'm so proud of him. I got the opportunity to visit Japan and travel around with him and our good friend, and we went to so many places in just 2 weeks. We were in Kagoshima, Fukuoka, Kyoto, Osaka, Shibuya, and Shinjuku. And those last two, they are a part of Tokyo. And I mean, I'm sure that most people know, but just in case. We went to all these places and we had some amazing experiences. I had so much fun. We did karaoke probably like 4 or 5 times. We met some really amazing people that I never really expected to be able to meet and communicate with. And even knowing just the limited Japanese, very limited, that I know, I was still able to have conversations with people more than just like, hi, how's it going? I was, between the two of us, between their limited English and between my limited Japanese, I was able to have conversations with people that I never thought that I would have been able to. And it was just so special. It was the best experience of my entire life. And I am a positive person, but I don't just go throwing that out there and saying something like that. It was truly something that I'll never forget. I'm just so grateful. Like, just every day I wake up and I'm like, man, I did that amazing thing. Not to mention, I hadn't seen my husband in like 5.5 months. And so just seeing him again was everything. It was everything. I'm not gonna get into every little detail of the trip because I plan on making more videos about different places that I visited. Some of my favorite things about Japan that I experienced are, as you may or may not know, Japan is a collectivist society. Everybody cares a lot about everybody. They want to make sure that they're not being a burden, they're not being a jerk. The emphasis in their society is to benefit everyone and not just the individual. Everywhere you go, people are so respectful and so kind. For some people, that's not necessarily like their true self, their true full personality. But just like when you're in public and you're on a train or you're in a hotel, to a konbini, to a restaurant, all these spaces are very peaceful. I've heard a lot of people on YouTube say that it's hard to make friends in Japan because people don't just kind of immediately tell you about their personal stuff in their life, as to where somebody here, they might tell you about those things pretty quickly. People say that it's harder to get past a barrier. I did not find that to be our experience in Japan, actually. Our experience was amazing, and we met people at bars a lot. We had people tell us about their lives. We had people tell us about negative experiences that they've had, the way they grew up, where they're from. So many things that I never expected to be able to know about people, to be able to break past that barrier. But my husband, knowing the pretty good amount of Japanese that he knows, we were able to have some amazing conversations with people, and I think we made some friends. Another thing I really enjoyed was the konbinis. If you don't know what those are, it's a convenience store where you get sandwiches and onigiri and snacks and drinks. And just imagine it's like a gas station, but it's like way better, and everything is fresh and everything is really cheap. And you go in, you can grab some snacks, and not only is it fresh, but it's freaking delicious. You know, if you just go into a gas station here, or if you go into a convenience store here, you'll probably be paying a lot of money if you want anything good, and even that probably won't be that good. This is cheap and it's great, honestly. I'm not saying that I would eat that for every single meal, but it was our nightcap. Every night we would go to a konbini, they're open super late, and we would grab some delicious sandwiches and snacks. They also have pastries that are just as good. coffees, teas, anything you could want, alcohol, anything. So I wish that that existed in the States. I do. I don't really want to talk about every single aspect of my trip because some of it I want to keep for myself and some of it I want to show you later with some of my art as well. I just wanted to give a quick overview where we went, my feelings about the whole experience. I got this shirt at a place called Don Quixote. Every floor has a different thing. It was so much fun to check out the Don Quixote in every city because they're all over Japan. Front of my shirt says itadakimasu, which is like when you're first starting to eat, well, before you eat your meal, you say this and it's like gratitude for your meal. It's like, let me just look up what it actually means. According to Wikipedia, itadakimasu means to humbly receive, kind of like thank you for the meal. And the back of my shirt, it says gochisousama deshita, and that means it was a great deal of work preparing the meal. So it's another just gratitude. It's kind of like before and after you eat, you give this little word of gratitude. And I actually think that people like do this whether they're alone or with people, and I love that. I love that. I want to talk about after the trip and how things have been since then. Imagine I spent 2 weeks in Japan with one of my best friends and with my husband, and we all had this experience together that none of us have ever had before, and we all shared in this just like great traveling extravaganza. As the trip gets closer to the end, I can feel a little bit of just like pre-sadness, a little, oh man, it sucks that we're not gonna be able to see each other again for a while. My husband and I, we had plans to see each other in April. I am moving to Japan, and originally we were planning that I was gonna move there in April with my dog. So it was a little bit of sadness, but it wasn't like too bad. It was just kind of like, this is gonna suck for a couple months, but it'll be okay. So as we come back, we get off the plane in the Texas airport, and wow, the Texas airport was a hot mess. A hot mess. I don't know if this is standard practice for them, but they were just screaming at people to get in line and screaming at them loudly and being like, this is the wrong line, get in this line, and just ordering people around. And coming from Japan where that kind of thing would never happen, the employee who was yelling at somebody would probably be fired. It was just like a jarring experience. The airport in Haneda was extremely just like normal business as usual. Things had a flow. We were just like, oh great. On top of that, it was much warmer where we were at in Japan for pretty much the whole time until the end, but there was plants still and it was much warmer. We get here and it was like snowy, and I knew this was coming. I knew that I was going to come back to a very cold winter. There was that whole experience, and then coming back home I had to get my animals from the people who were watching them. I finally got into the apartments and I finally settled in. I took some time to be a real slug, not clean the house, eat slug foods, and just exist. After that amount of time, you just get tired of being a slug, and then you wanna start maybe being a person. So I started really diving into all the details about how we're going to get our dog to Japan in April. All the little details that I had not really known before. I started deep diving on the internet, and what I found was really upsetting. In order for our dog to move to Japan, she had to go through a waiting period of 6 months. Yeah. And there's a lot of reasons that this didn't come up earlier, and I know that this is all my responsibility, and so I take full responsibility. When we first found this out, yeah, we were really upset. It really had me feeling more melancholy, really sad. In order for dogs to move to Japan, they need to have 2 rabies vaccines, a titer test, and then after the titer test, they need to wait 6 months in order to be completely good to move to Japan. In that time period, you have to do a lot of paperwork and make sure that you have everything you need as far as like documentation, certificates, there has to be a certificate that gets an official stamp by the USDA that you need to take with you. 10 days before you go, you actually have to ship this document out to the USDA, have them stamp it, and send it back to you in the mail. Yeah, that's gonna be stressful. That's gonna be fun. Anyways, like there's all these things that came up. Other things too, besides just summer needing to wait 6 months. The ferry that goes to the island, that, you know, it's a pretty big ferry, and this is the ferry that goes from the mainland to the island. That's broken right now, and I don't know when it's gonna be fixed. And I hope to freaking universe that this ferry gets fixed before we come, because if it doesn't, then we don't know what we'll do. For those reasons and a couple others, we realized that we probably won't see each other again until August. So we went from moving in together in April to now we're moving in together in August. It's pretty jarring to have that realization. That's why I wanted to paint this bird. And on top of that, it's been a while since I have done some art because of this trip and everything, and getting back into doing art always centers me, and it's something that I don't really intend to take breaks on anyways, but life happens, and sometimes you're off experiencing amazing things. And so I'm getting back into doing art, and that's why I wanted to paint this pigeon. Something I'm realizing in life is, for the most part, things will work out. They might not be when you expected them to work out or the way that you wanted them to work out. Any of these expectations that you have in your mind, they might not go that way. They may not be when you want it. But I do trust that this is the right timing. I'm taking it as an opportunity, continuing to explore my art and everything. And I think that like it can be really hard to come to the realization that things are not gonna happen the way that you expected. But I do think it's important to come to that realization, because otherwise you're kind of stuck. You're having an experience where things got derailed and you don't know exactly how things are gonna work out. You're gonna have to wait a little bit longer on something. I want to encourage you and give you a hug and just let you know that things will be okay. And you just have to do what you can in the moment where you are right now. Where you are right now is the most important, and you're gonna get through it, but you have to be here in order to go through this experience. And maybe it'll be even better than what you had imagined. Imagine like 6 months in the future, looking back on this moment right now and thinking, wow, I didn't know it, but that was actually the way that things should have gone, because things are way better now than I even imagined that they could have been. But never give up. Don't give up on your vision. Trust things are gonna be okay. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. And trust me, it wasn't easy. My camera died. I have very low battery. Okay, I better get through the rest of this quick. Things are always kind of going towards the direction of being solved, and it's usually a matter of time. And sometimes I think it's a little bit of a test. Sometimes I also think it's a little bit of a preparing time of, oh, you actually needed to do this in order for this to line up perfectly, in order for this to be exactly how you wanted it to be. And so I'm trusting right now that in 6 months, my dog and I will be moving to Japan, and we'll be reuniting with my husband, and it'll be just I can't even imagine how great it will be. But in the meantime, I need to work on myself, and that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, I hope that I got the footage that I needed. I hope that I was able to say what I needed to say with enough clarity to help somebody. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll be putting out a lot more videos about my artwork and my process, things that happen in my life, and just my thoughts about life. I love talking about deeper things in life. It's one of my favorite things to do. I am just one of those people that I don't really like to bullshit around. I like to get right to the heart of the matter and talk about things that I feel are really important. And I'm willing to talk about dumb stuff too. I love talking about dumb shit, but I really love talking with people about ways that we can be better, different ideas about life, and just think about things in a different perspective. And so that's why I like to bring to this channel as well. So if you enjoyed this, please subscribe and like. If you comment with anything, I will respond to you. Ask me a question, whatever. It does help. It helps a lot with showing other people the video. Thank you for hanging out with me for a little bit, and I hope the rest of your day goes well. And yeah, so thank you.